Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery.
Frank for this one though, because he was definitely the inspiration of the idea of giving back. So we're doing Mr. White Suit, and basically the whole concept on it is how we make an impact on our community, what we can do to give back, and what charity means to people around you, even when you don't realize it. So, the lyrics of Mr. Whitesuit, if you haven't heard it, describe the local legend in Detroit, man known as Mr. Whitesuit, who has positive impact on poverty-stricken neighborhoods. He's depicted as kind, caring individual who helps those in need, such as hungry, the sick, even reunites missing children with their parents. Mr. Whitesuit is seen as kind of a source of hope and inspiration in a super dark place in this whole mythos. So the song highlights the idea of giving back to the community and helping those that really need it, the people that are in the worst possible financial situations, the most desperate at times, people that have lost things that are most of the time irrecoverable. So it's a reminder that we all have this potential to make positive impact on other people's lives, no matter how small or big. So we can all choose to be a source of hope for others by doing these super small things. So the story of Mr. Whitesuit's powerful reminder that the impact that one person can have on our community by giving back simple shit is
Major.
dogs. Okay. I don't think I've ever heard your dog bark before. But how do we give back to
Sorry
our
about that.
community? Ah, it's okay. How can we, a bunch of scrubs, fuck ups, juggalos, make any kind of positive impact? There are so many ways we have already impacted our own communities, and a lot of the time we don't recognize it. I'm going to give you some examples from my own personal life, and then we're going to discuss it a little bit. And we'll try to point out times when you've made an impact that you weren't aware of. So, my origins in the scene are pretty vague, not super important. But when my favorite parts of the gathering started to disappear, me and a few friends got together and decided that we were going to bring that part of the gathering back. And that was just running Morton's List games. Morton's List at the gathering felt like the absolute best part of the gathering to me. Music was always great, but once you've seen it once, it's still just as good the next time, but that's not the primary reason for me to go to the gathering. So we wanted to make sure that that was still there for ourselves and for others. So, all of the fun shit that we like still existed. We continued to do that, but not because we have some kind of ego about what we do or we're even making money on it. It's solely because of what made the gathering so much fun for us. And we wanted to make sure it still was there for other people. Uh, According to all the creators of Morton's List, we were solely responsible for keeping it alive and giving them faith for the future of gaming inside of the Juggalo scene. And as from now on, like we had two gaming conventions that had previously never existed before. We had brand new games that had come out, and there are still new ones being developed that are coming out. And while we did not recognize that small effort of us being selfish and trying to keep something that we enjoyed around, that had this massive rippling effect that allowed there to be so much more happening and more enjoyment and making things just that slight bit better. So there's also the whole Juggalos in recovery thing that I got involved with because I was playing stupid fucking games with one sober guy. But that doesn't matter as much as the overall idea of what we've done, charity work, the idea of just putting more fun into the area. But, we can't always do grand gestures like that. We can't always put all of our time and effort into just doing these simple, fun things that matter to us, but are ultimately for others. There's always these small acts of charity, letting somebody crash on your couch, just being an ear for somebody to vent to, or just talking to people that really need somebody to talk to. And those are all just different ways that we have the ability to impact our own community, even in ways that we may not recognize. And with that, I'm going to open it up to people in the room and see who wants to talk about little shit that they've done that they feel like resonated with others. Josie, talk about your cum pet.
Oh, can I let him come back because I can't go in Circle K parking lot and trying to do nonsense right now of
I
fuck
mean,
the
that's
store.
fine. How did you
Um,
attract the cum pet?
the combat has been a fucking homie for a long time.
We got the machine, but no paper.
And exactly, he just went to go try to help me pay my rent. They have a money order machine, but they don't have paper now. Awesome.
So on
And
to another one.
on to another adventure apparently of
I got. Five.
Square has fucking nonsense to do laundry and pay rent because this is gay.
Mm-hmm. So your homie is coming out to help you.
Yep, come out
do
to
the
help
thing?
me and help himself at the same time. So we don't cause too much chaos because we're in an area where there's not a lot of them.
Dope.
So
Oh,
we've
and that
been
relates
homies for
back
a
into what
long
we were
time.
talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect. Right.
Problem. Bag's gonna get wet. Let's move away from the Circle K.
All right, Frank, what about you? What small things have you done to help others?
To help others?
Uh-huh.
Oh God.
Things that didn't feel like great effort.
I think one of the things I talked about this last meeting. One of the things that still surprised me to this day is just speaking in meetings and how much it helps others.
Mm-hmm.
And having people come up to you later and be like, "Hey, what you've been saying, I've been listening, and it's helped me a lot," and all this stuff. I mean, honestly, I do a lot of stuff for others. If I don't do a lot of stuff for others, then start becoming an asshole. Or I start getting so involved with my hobbies and work that I don't deal with people.
Right. I feel that one.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I don't think I've really done well. Actually, I went to the store today. I was making shelves for the living room, and this old couple was going in. It was either today or yesterday, one of the two. And older, probably 60s ish. They were just going in and doing whatever they got to do. And I held the door open for them. And they both got a big smile on their face and thanked me and stuff. Like little things like that, believe it or not, have a huge impact on a person. And the opposite also has an effect too. I've realized, like if you just start only worrying about yourself and you walk through a door and you know someone's coming, you don't hold it open. I can tell you from my personal experience, I'm gonna bitch you out underneath my breath because that's just rude as fuck to me.
No, I agree with that.
So it's a lot of the little things. I like at one point, I think I still have them somewhere. I had business cards made for good deeds, and it said something like fuck, I don't even remember what it said. It's been a hot minute since I've used them. It's about paying it forward, basically. And I would go like to McDonald's, and I would just hand the manager $100 bill and be like, "Hey, anybody comes through the drive-through, hand them one of these cards and pay for their meal." And I'd be sitting inside, so they wouldn't know who was paying for their meal, and all they would get was pay it forward business card, no name on it, no nothing, just a pay it forward business card. My dad actually gave me that idea. Um, I have the opportunity to do stuff like that, but there's other ways you can help people. I walking through Walmart parking lot and seeing someone struggling with loading something in their vehicle. I just thought, hey, do you need some help? Even just asking has an impact. Um, it's a lot of little things. Hell, just being in the house and with family members and stuff, the little things that you do for your family have a huge impact on how their day's going to be. Um, I've been busting my ass for the last 5, 6 days getting these shelves done, completely stained, mounted, everything. And they're done now. All that's left is to put shit on them. And I bust my ass, and I had to take a full day yesterday to not do shit. Take a day to recover because I've been busting my ass. But you just gotta know your limits.
No, I take that. All right, D, I know you've done a lot of that shit. Let's hear about yours.
I mean, I was sitting here when you were talking and asking the question. I was kind of thinking along the same lines of Frank because, like, honestly, the best thing you do is lead by example, right? We share our experience, strength, and hope. So by us going from the bottom of the bottom to where we are today is just that alone, it can be an inspiration to others struggling that have went through similar things that we are doing. But I mean, besides doing that, like, I'm a very I don't know, when I'm alone, but when I'm in a social setting, I'm a social butterfly. And I'm goofy, I'm fun, I joke around. I try to show everybody that there's sobriety doesn't have to be so boring or dull or whatever. I do sobriety events to try to get people out and do stuff they wouldn't normally do. Like this weekend, we're doing a paintball event. Not too long ago, we had like a skydiving event. Like which is a thing. Just showing people that just because you got sober doesn't mean you can't have a life. And then I'm a treasurer for a couple groups, and then I try to bring in meetings to the residents where I work at from outside places, and I just try to do things that will help. And like Frank said, it could be even to the smallest thing, just not being so judgmental and like leaning the ear to somebody when they're going through shit. Being that kind of person where they know they can talk to you about whatever, and you ain't gonna go run your mouth and judge them for whatever they're saying. Like that can be a big help just to people's, because especially like early recovery, you struggle a lot, you want to bitch a lot, you want to complain a lot, you're kind of grumpy. I mean, I know at least I was, and a lot of people I know are. So just be able to let somebody talk to you and get some shit off their chest is a good thing.
Yeah, no, I dig that. What about you, Mr. Scarecrow? You got anything that's small that you've done for others that you feel like impacted them?
Make sure my grandparents have plenty of wood on their porch all the time, so they don't have to go across the street over to the woodshed to get firewood for their stove. It's just right there on the porch or inside the house. I don't really do too much of a lot lately, but about a week ago there was a water emergency after a storm. Someone's water line had exploded, and because my brother's the main water guy, I had enough knowledge that I was able to turn it off for the moment, fix the problem, and get it all set back up, and people didn't have to go all day without their water. So I guess not entirely useless, just a lot of little things like Francis was saying.
Yeah.
I feel like I
So,
haven't been doing a whole lot of anything since my COPD flare up, but when I look at all the little things, I try to be there for people at whatever capacity they'll allow me to.
well, let's talk about that as the repercussions of what these small actions actually are. So, what is a small amount of effort from our side is a massive amount of stress that somebody else doesn't have to take on. Or the massive amount of stress that's just off of their plate in general. You know, those small actions that feel so insignificant to us, these things that are just part of our daily routines, our weekly routines, these things that we're just regularly doing, even though we may not recognize them, have this impact and encourage other people to emulate that in a way that you don't recognize. You know, it wasn't until we started hosting games that other people started hosting games. And that all opened up the doors for all of these other people to do things. Of about 7 years ago, I bought a house for a homie so that they had a place to start over. And that person went ahead, had a place to get on their feet for a minute, bought the house, and then they bought another house and did the exact same thing. You know, what seemed like just a simple gesture, simple investment, something that seemed so minuscule to me, affected more people than I would have initially recognized, because it was almost a selfish act, because this was something that was normal for me. This is something that I enjoyed doing, or this is something that I wanted to do for myself. But those things that I may want to do for myself also affect others in a mostly positive way. And that's the way you need to kind of think about the things that you do, is while they may not seem like much, they are a whole lot to others. With that, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Yes, Frank.
Something else that has a huge impact that people don't realize is how you react to situations. Your reactions can lead to a major blowout fight or a very peaceful solution. Something that I've been working on personally is not allowing my emotions to be my reaction. I'm allowed to have the negative emotions if something's making me feel fucked up, but I also need to deal with that in a fashion that's not going to hurt other people around me. So if I get angry, what I usually used to do was I would lash out to whoever either made me angry or whoever was closest to me, either physically or, you know, emotionally. And that ends up hurting those people and those relationships that I had. And now, instead of letting emotions have the control over me, I've accepted that I'm a human, that I'm allowed to have emotions, but those emotions do not have to make my decisions for me. So that's what I do. I take a breath, be like, okay, whatever. Or I've literally told my wife, I'm just ending this conversation right now. Can't have this conversation right now. It's just, if tempers get high or feelings get hurt or whatever, or it's just a touchy subject, you got to find a different way to talk about it. And that is a very small thing that has a huge impact on people.